Hello again. Welcome back to the channel. Today, another comparison video. We're going to take a look at how one manufacturer has taken two different approaches to multi-scale basses. First up, we have the Ibanez Srms805. And we'll be comparing it the Ibanez EHB1005MS. Now, I've already reviewed the SRMS805 on the channel, and I'll have a link to that video in the description. I have not reviewed the EHB1005MS, but I have reviewed the EHB1005 non-MS and the EHB1505MS. I'll link those videos as well. And I also did a comparison between the EHB1505MS and the Dingwall. So, as I said, same manufacturer, two different approaches to multi-scale basses. Let's start off with the SR. So the SRMS805, it's based on Ibanez's tried and true sound gear model. Your very typical body and headstock that is indicative of the SR sound gear range. Has the thin neck that most people come to expect from an Ibanez. The differences between this and the EHB are the scale length is 34 inches on the G string to 35.5 inches on the B string. So for those of you who want a longest B string possible, well, this isn't it. The Dingwall has that at 37 inches. But this is closer to the Dingwall. I guess you could say it's kind of a traditional approach to a non-traditional instrument, because multi-scale is far from being what is considered mainstream, but getting more and more popular. Anyways, so we have, again, 34-inch G string, 35.5-inch B string. For my purposes, I like the G string to be as short as possible because you get less twanginess in it that way. I had a 35-inch scale 6-string bass that had a 35-inch C string, and I just never really liked the way that C string sounded. For electronics, we have the Bartolini BH2 Ibanez pickups, which are active-passive. They have a passive tone control, and also have a variable frequency mid, which you can select the frequency from 250, 450, or 750 hertz to get a little more fine tuning going in the sound. Wood-wise, it's a little fancy. It's got mahogany body with a popwood burl top. Beautiful in this case. Fantastic. Look at that, huh? And we have a Jatoba and walnut neck with a panga fingerboard. It's very well put together. Retails for around $1,000. Great deal overall when you think about it. Again, the Ibanez SRMS805. Now we have the EHB1005MS. Well, there's a few differences you can see right off the bat. It's headless. EHB stands for ergonomic headless bass. Essentially, you know, it's a takeoff of what Steinberger started 40 years ago. It's almost all the way down to the bare essentials. You got a little bit of a body wing to make it so it can hang, but really, all you need is just the fretboard and the pickups, right? I mean, Les Paul's first electric guitar was called the Log because that's all it had. He fabricated body wings to make it look more like a guitar to try to get some more acceptance. So, how is this a different approach? Well, obviously, we already talked about it being headless, but the scale length also varies. Here, the scale length goes from 33 inches on the G string to 35 inches on the B string. So, G string's a little shorter, and the B string's a half-inch shorter. I'll leave it up to you to decide how different that sounds. Again, same pickups as in the SRMS. As the Bartolini BH2 Ibanez design pickups. And the preamp here, again, active-passive with a passive tone control, but instead of a three-way selector for the mid frequencies, you have a sweep. So you get a little bit more control over cutting and boosting of the mid frequencies. It's funny, I've read online people saying that this confuses them, having a sweep level mid. I think they're overthinking it, to be honest with you. Again, as I've highlighted in a few of the videos that I've talked about on these, is I find it much easier to roll back and take away some of the mid frequencies and find that sweet spot there by sweeping the frequency. Try it out. You like it. Don't overthink it. And again, it's passive, so that if you want to, just don't turn on the preamp. Anyways, nobody wants to hear me talk. They want to hear how the basses sound. So let's get on with it. So you're going to be hearing direct sound of the bass. I'm going through my Mesa Boogie WD800, but I'm going pre-EQ out of the DI, so you're going to hear as close to a direct sound of the bass as possible. So we'll start in passive mode, tone up all the way, both pickups straight up. Hopefully it'll get copyright strikes, but I like that riff because I can go across all 5 strings. Again, that was passive mode. Okay, let's try it now with the EQ on, everything's at flat. Alright, here's what everyone who's turning in for, right? What's the B string sound like? Here we are with passive mode, tone up all the way. Open B string. Now, with the active mode engaged, EQ flat. Now let's check out the EHB. Tone up all the way, passive mode. Now, active with the EQ centered. Okay, passive mode. Tone up all the way, B string. Active mode. Tone flat, B string. Here's me fooling around with one of my favorite tone settings on the EHB. I have it favored toward the neck pickup, bass boosted a little, treble rolled back a little. I have the mid frequency at the highest and have it cut all the way. So here we go with the neck pickup favored a little bit, bass boosted, treble cut, and the highest EQ frequency on the mid cut all the way off. Got both pickups centered. I have the mid-frequency boosted just a little bit. It is at the 250 range. Trebled center, bass is up a little bit. Alright, same settings on the EHB. So, what's my verdict? Well, my number 1 and number 2 basses for 5 strings are my EHB1005 and my EHB1005. What do I like about it? I just love the ergonomic feel of the bass. It feels nice against the body. It's incredibly light, less than 8 pounds. You don't have to worry about whacking people in the head with the headstock. You can throw it in the gig bag and throw it on the back of the motorcycle if you want without having to worry about breaking headstocks and whatnot. And like I said, it's incredibly light. Very easy to play. I've almost zero time adapting to the fanned frets. And that's true of either bass. But for my purposes, I really like the flexibility of the mid-control and just the overall package of the EHB. Now, what do you think? Feel free to chime in. As far as the SRMS, what that does, it's more of a traditional, I guess. If you want it to look like a normal bass. If you like the SR, the Soundgear profile, you're gonna love the SRMS805. The lower B, the longer B string. Maybe if you play heavier music, you wanna maybe gravitate toward that. That's closer to the Dingwall. The Dingwall is still far and above the tops when it comes to multiscales on that. Whether or not you like that sound of the B string is totally subjective, obviously. But just thought I'd do a quick little comparison. Not scientific at all. Basically, just like if you were hanging out with somebody and you were sharing basses back and forth. Did forget to mention this. The biggest issue here is that we don't have the same strings on the basses. We have GHS boomers on the SRMS. It's not my bass. That's the strings I use. I was going to swap over, but I couldn't find strings that fit well. That's one of the biggest issues with that bass, is that extra long scale strings are what you're going to need. Because some brands, it may fit. You may come up a little short. The ones I have, the winding didn't clear the nut, so it wouldn't tune up right for the B string. Those are the Dario XLs, which is what I have on this bass here, which are the strings that Ibanez ships the bass with. So these are standard scale, the Dario XL strings, which fit on no problem. So something to keep in mind. You just gotta make sure you have super long scales. Typically for the Ibanez, little pickier on the strings. The EHB, no such issues. Anyways, if you like what you see here, feel free to subscribe. Check out my playlist of bass reviews, which will be popping up here at some point. And check out the links down below in the description for the other videos I've had of other basses. And yeah, thanks for stopping by and have a great day.